Chapter 2: Forest and Wildlife Resources. We share this planet with millions of other living beings, starting from microorganisms and bacteria, lichens to banyan trees, elephants, and blue whales. This entire habitat that we live in has immense biodiversity. We humans, along with all living organisms, form a complex web of ecological system in which we are only a part and very much dependent on this system for our own existence. For example, the plants, animals, and microorganisms recreate the quality of the air we breathe, the water we drink, and the soil that produces our food without which we cannot survive. Forests play a key role in the ecological system as these are also the primary producers on which all other living beings depend. Flora and fauna in India. If you look around, you will be able to find that there are some animals and plants which are unique in your area. In fact, India is one of the world's richest countries in terms of its vast array of biological diversity. This is possibly twice or thrice the number yet to be discovered. You have already studied in detail about the extent and variety of forest and wildlife resources in India. You may have realized the importance of these resources in our daily life. These diverse flora and fauna are so well integrated in our daily life that we take these for granted. But lately, they are under great stress, mainly due to insensitivity to our environment. Some estimates suggest that at least 10% of India's recorded wild flora and 20% of its mammals are on the threatened list. Many of these would now be categorized as critical, that is, on the verge of extinction, like the cheetah, pink headed duck, mountain quail, forest spotted owlet, and plants like Maduka insignis, that is a wild variety of mahua, and Habardia heptaniorum, that is a species of grass. In fact, no one can say how many species may have already been lost. Today, we only talk of the larger and more visible animals and plants that have become extinct. But what about smaller animals like insects and plants? Biodiversity or biological diversity is immensely rich in wildlife and cultivated species, diverse in form and function, but closely integrated in a system through multiple network of interdependencies. Vanishing forests. The dimensions of deforestation in India are staggering. The forest and tree cover in the country is estimated at 79.42 million hectare, which is 24.16% of the total geographical area. That is, dense forest 12.2%, open forest 9.14%, and mangrove 0.14%. According to the State of Forest Report 2015, the dense forest cover has increased by 3,775 square kilometer since 2013. However, this apparent increase in the forest cover is due to conservation measures, management interventions, and plantation, etc., by different agencies. Let us now understand the different categories of existing plants and animal species. based on the International Union for Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources, that is IUCN, we can classify as follows: normal species. Species whose population levels are considered to be normal for their survival, such as cattle, sal, pine, rodents, etc. Endangered species. These are species which are in danger of extinction. The survival of such species is difficult if the negative factors that have led to a decline in their population continue to operate. The examples of such species are black buck, crocodile, Indian wild ass, Indian rhino, lion tailed macaque, sangai, that is bro enter deer in Manipur, etc. Vulnerable species. These are species whose population has declined to levels from where it is likely to move into the endangered category in the near future if the negative factors continue to operate. The examples of such species are blue sheep, Asiatic elephant, Gangetic dolphin, etc. Rare species. Species with small population may move into the endangered or vulnerable category if the negative factors affecting them continue to operate. The examples of such species are the Himalayan brown bear, wild Asiatic buffalo, desert fox, and hornbill, etc. Endemic species. These are species which are only found in some particular areas, usually isolated by natural or geographical barriers. Examples of such species are the Andaman teal, Nicobar pigeon, Andaman wild pig, Mithun in Arunachal Pradesh. Extinct species. These are species which are not found after searches of known or likely areas where they may occur. A species may be extinct from a local area, region, country, continent, or the entire earth. Examples of such species are the Asiatic cheetah, pink head duck. Asiatic cheetah. Where did they go? The world's fastest land mammal, the cheetah, Echinonyx jubatus, is a unique and specialized member of the cat family and can move at the speed of 112 km per hour. The cheetah is often mistaken for a leopard. Its distinguishing marks are the long teardrop shaped lines on each side of the nose from the corner of its eyes to its mouth. Prior to the 20th century, cheetahs were widely distributed throughout Africa and Asia. Today, the Asian cheetah is nearly extinct due to a decline of available habitat and prey. The species was declared extinct in India long back in 1952. What are the negative factors that cause such fearful depletion of the flora and fauna? If you look around, you will be able to find out how we have transformed nature into a resource obtaining directly and indirectly from the forests and wildlife. Wood, barks, leaves, rubber, medicines, dyes, food, fuel, fodder, manure, etc. So it is we ourselves who have depleted our forests and wildlife. The greatest damage inflicted on Indian forests was during the colonial period due to the expansion of the railways, agriculture, commercial and scientific forestry, and mining activities. Even after independence, agricultural expansion continues to be one of the major causes of depletion of forest resources. Between 1951 and 1980, according to the Forest Survey of India, over 26,200 square kilometer of forest area was converted into agricultural land all over India. Substantial parts of the tribal belts, es- especially in the northeastern and central India, have been deforested or degraded by shifting cultivation, that is, zoom, a type of slash and burn agriculture. Large scale development projects have also contributed significantly to the loss of forests. Since 1951, over 5,000 square kilometers of forest was cleared for river valley projects. Clearing of forests is still continuing with projects like the Narmada Sagar project in Madhya Pradesh, which would inundate 40,000 hectares of project. Mining is another important factor behind deforestation. The Baksa Tiger Reserve in West Bengal is seriously threatened by the ongoing dolomite mining. It has disturbed the natural habitat of many species and blocked the migration route of several others, including the great Indian elephant. Many foresters and environmentalists hold the view that the greatest degrading factors behind the depletion of forest resources are grazing and fuel wood collection. Though there may be some substance in their argument, yet the fact remains that a substantial part of the fuel fodder demand is met by lopping rather than by felling entire trees. The forest ecosystems are repositories of some of the country's most valuable forest products, minerals, and other resources that meet the demands of the rapidly expanding industrial urban economy. These protected areas thus mean different things to different people, and therein lies the fertile ground for conflicts. Habitat destruction, hunting, poaching, overexploitation, environmental pollution, poisoning, and forest fires are factors which led to the decline in India's biodiversity. Other important causes of environmental destruction are unequal access, inequitable consumption of resources, and differential sharing of responsibility for overpopulation in third world countries is often cited as the cause of environmental degradation. However, an average American consumes 40 times more resources than an average Somalian. Similarly, the richest 5% of Indian society probably cause more ecological damage because of the amount they consume than the poorest 25%. The former shares minimum responsibilities for environmental well being. The question is, who is consuming what, from where, and how much? The destruction of forests and wildlife is not just a biological issue. The biological loss is strongly correlated with the loss of cultural diversity. Such losses have increasingly marginalized and impoverished many indigenous and other forest dependent communities who directly depend on various components of the forest and wildlife for food, drink, medicine, culture, spirituality, etc. Within the poor, women are affected more than men. In many societies, women bear the major responsibility of collection of fuel, fodder, water, and other basic subsistence needs. As these resources are depleted, the drudgery of women increases, and sometimes they have to walk for more than 10 kilometers to collect these resources. This causes serious health problems for women and negligence of home and children because of the increased hours of work, which often has serious social implications. The indirect impact of degradation, such as severe drought or deforestation induced floods, etc., also hits the poor the hardest. Poverty in these cases is a direct outcome of environmental destruction. Therefore, forest and wildlife are vital to the quality of life and environment in the subcontinent. It is imperative to adopt to sound forest and wildlife conservation strategies. Are colonial forest policies to be blamed? Some of our environmental activists say that the promotion of a few favored species in many parts of India has been carried through the ironically termed enrichment plantation, in which a single commercially valuable species was extensively planted and other species eliminated. For instance, teak monoculture has damaged the natural forest in South India, and chir pine, that is Pinus roxburghi plantations in the Himalayas have replaced the Himalayan oak, that is Quercus spipi, and rhododendron forests. The Himalayan eve in trouble. The Himalayan eve, that is Taxus walachiana, is a medicinal plant found in various parts of Himachal Pradesh and Arunachal Pradesh. A chemical compound called taxol is extracted from the bark, needles, twigs, and roots of this tree, and it has been successfully used to treat some cancers. The drug is now the biggest selling anti cancer drug in the world. The species is under great threat due to overexploitation. In the last 1 decade, thousands of yew trees have dried up in various parts of Himachal Pradesh and Arunachal Pradesh. Do you know? Do you know that over half of India's natural forests are gone? One third of its wetlands drained out, 70% of its surface water bodies polluted, 40% of its mangroves wiped out, and with continued hunting and trade of wild animals and commercially valuable plants, thousands of plant and animal species ha- are heading towards extinction.